think I've made a video blog entry since 2012. And I'm not totally sure that that's what I'm doing now. But I would like for that to be so, I think. I'm remembering the importance of connecting to people, like in a real way, not just thinking about people, seeing them on the streets. This feels like an unflattering lighting situation. I have to look over that way to see look at the camera, but I'm trying to look at the screen instead. I didn't mean to sigh so much for this. My life has been so derailed. But it's more like, it's on rails, it's just on different rails. The trajectory, the route has changed. And lately especially, like the past month or something, I've been just longing to all at once break off that and start living differently now, right away. And I don't really know. I don't really know am I doing it, am I not doing it? Is it working, is it not working? Mostly I just can't conceive of how I can put it together. And I think that realistically, the reality is that most of the difficulty is just with myself. It's just within myself. That I have changed. I am a different person, a different thing. And that's why my life looks different. And so I have to change my habits, certain things in my thinking, definitely mostly enhance my spiritual faculties to be able to move forward. And so all that's true, and I feel like I'm very comfortable with that, and I've thought through that from various angles and accepted it that yes, this is the situation I'm in. I'm going to need to change. And mostly I give myself credit. I think I'm considerably worse at consistently applying. Making it real is harder. But the thought that I had, that I'm striking towards, that there seems to be, I don't know if it's just illusory, but there seems to be inertia holding me back from my life situation, my circumstances, the weird part of my life that resides outside of me and remains when I wake up each morning. And I think that's true. I don't think that it's totally a bogus idea, obviously. Certain things that I've become accustomed to really do have a role in holding me back. Not having a car, having inconsistent, sporadic income. I guess I'm less poor than I've been for a long time, and that's really nice. It's really nice, but I haven't really thought about it. I haven't really appreciated it, maybe. Because that was not really what I most cared about. the past few months, money has not been the limiting factor in what keeps my life from being reaching its potential. The limiting factor has always seemed to be something with me, something in my behavior, and I guess I mostly, still think of it like that. I'm not sure what else to say. I think there is more to say. I was laying down, I was on the couch like 20, 30 minutes ago, just kind of laying there, and I observed that my mind, like without really much, I don't know, intention or effort, I was thinking about how, just the grave disappointment that I hold in the world for how it treated me in the closing of my last manic episode. I suppose I ought to forgive it. It's hard for me to understand I'm gonna say things that embarrass me here. I'm not sure if they're true. I know they're wrong, which is why I'm embarrassed. But like, I don't see what the point is of like arriving at forgiveness if it means that you have to negate your own story, that you have to step. And I guess it's not negated. It's just fill in another perspective, arrive at a broader picture of what happened. But like sometimes what happened, I was specifically excluding a whole bunch of shit. Like I took it out for a reason. Maybe not for a reason. I mean, it got taken out as a side effect. You'll have trouble understanding me maybe. Um, all of my manias involve eventually involve delusion, like kind of like the I just kind of build upon and extrapolate from the original inspiring true ideas, and apply principles or processes or transformations to my belief system and my perception. Things that things that are not, what's that word? Things that are not trivial. Like, things that I had to earn the right to do, that I had to work out a lot of philosophical principles and like come to deeper understanding of time and figure out what I believe about just so many different things. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't think of these manic delusional mindsets as delusional, first of all. But like as they don't seem limited. It doesn't seem limiting to be within them. It actually seems the opposite. It seems like through the construction of these things, I can create or achieve or act in ways that I can't ordinarily, and quite possibly can go way beyond that into wild magic and miracle. And so, like, they're not limiting at all when I'm inside them. Like, I'm freer, I'm more spacious, I'm more relaxed, I'm more capable of action, I'm more alert. I'm fully myself. And so it's absurd to think that it's limiting. And yet, when I do look at it from an outside perspective, because I do, it's not like I mean, I kind of have to sometimes, and this last episode I've had to a lot more than I really like to. But when I look at it from another perspective, I see that it's kind of, in order to maintain the belief systems that I have engaged in those times, I need to just jettison, without even being aware of it, like 80% of my like ordinary, everyday things I believe, facts about the world, the way the world works. Um, so it's not really like it's not that I make a conscious decision to, on a case by case basis, like the way in which I ought to change my beliefs. Um, I wonder if Dr. O'Malley would like to see this video. Um, I hope that I can. I hope that this serves some purpose, since I am recording it for an audience this time, even though it's a very humble setting and I'm not even prepared. Anyway, so what I'm getting at, I think maybe I should stop wrestling with the question of whether it's limited or limiting or small or big or anything like that. What I'm really trying to say is that forgiving my parents and my doctor for hospitalizing me, and everybody just for not really noticing and caring that was a grave injustice. I don't know. If I'm to forgive all that, I kind of need to think through their perspectives, which are based entirely in that 80% of the shit that I was not caring about and not thinking about and not believing in, basically. And so it kind of, it has the potential to ruin the magic. And that's already happened to some degree, and yet I know that it's not that the magic, the self that was there, that lived those experiences, that took on those altered delusional mindsets, still resides within my body and my mind. And I still kind of can get toward him and have him come out in a small scale way. Largely unintentionally, but intentionally a little too, in the right circumstances. So the forgiveness thing, the thing that I'm talking about that I have to do, and there, see, I just said I have to do it. I hadn't admitted that much yet. But anyway, the thing that I have to do of basically recognizing what happened from various non-manic, non-delusional actors' perspectives, um, it affects my, I guess, I would have to say my ego. It does affect my ego in the present, but what I'm trying to, and I think that's a good observation, but what I'm trying to get at is that it only alters my understanding or my estimation or my belief from a neutral, stable, settled state of mind. From that everyday, common, low, mundane, mean sort of belief system. So, so what it's really doing is harmonizing the self that I'm living with now, which is largely a thing of, well, of the everyday, and of stability and of progress and growth. Um, it gets into there and makes changes, but it doesn't change the. It's like a little projection. It's like part of myself shoots off into some other little corner and becomes a more focused thing. And those little offshoots, stellations, are my manic selves, and they're unaffected by. They're not that makes it sound like I've designed it so that they'll be that. Like I carefully guard beliefs that do not allow myself to be fragmented, and so I keep them into these weird little projections because that is much better than like just losing them, discarding them, rejecting them as false, um, or worse yet, if it were possible for me to just dissociate from them and result in multiple personalities or some form of schizophrenia. So I guess my beliefs about belief are I don't know if I want to say formulated to keep that thing intact, keep those things attached, because I didn't, when I was arriving at those beliefs, I wasn't aware that I, would turn out to be bipolar and have these manias and so-called delusions. Um, but that is, happily, in my view, their consequence. That I allow myself to believe different things at different times, largely as a function of my state of mind, which includes energy level, what they call in psychiatry mood, which I think is a terrible term for what they're trying to say, but as what also states, also directions apart from just sheer magnitude, just high and low, lots of energy, little energy, also, just the whole range of states changes me. Although maybe if I'm to really be serious and go about trying to forgive the, whatever needs to be forgiven in my past, maybe that will result in like a truly stable ego structure. not totally sure how what I'm saying now differs from what I was saying. But I guess I just had an image of, like if I could have like a master kind of egoic matrix, a framework of things that I always believe and things that are always true to my knowledge, here in space-time on Earth, but, and then kind of have the rest of it sort of as detachable modules or possible extensions of whatever this core stable thing is, which I suppose would have to be pretty minimalist for me to maintain a real freedom, but it would also have to be robust enough to be able to handle everyday situations without any additional modules installed. Um, well, I've made considerable progress here with this. I'm preparing to close it. Um, I have had some new thoughts and recorded them, and I feel better. And I feel more able to trust the spiritual process, more able to go along with the work of forgiveness, because I am coming to see that it might be in my best interest. And of course I always knew, as received wisdom, that it was in my best interest, and certainly I don't want to have, resentments and angers popping up all the time. I mean, I've known it's generally a good thing, but maybe here tonight now I've started to envision that it may be, in fact, a reward, that process will render something within me which is worth the work of finding, or creating, or hewing away, or whatever, uncovering. And clearly that must be what Richard Rohr's Immortal Diamond is. There's a lot of ways in which I'm just, I guess, kind of applying in a very more narrow, concrete sense, the knowledge of the spiritual process and spiritual principles that I've already read about and studied and dabbled in. But I've so long supposed that that traditional spirituality was in opposition to my mania, which is my true state. And now I'm starting to see that I've had to remind myself and learn and remember over time and trust that they're not incompatible. That if I focus on spirituality, the mode that I've called submission before, that's not going to preclude my mania, and it's not going to, I don't know, reduce me to other than what I am. I've been very worried about losing my individual beliefs and the capacity that I have to make my own rational decisions for myself as a single being, as a human being, because I was afraid that I would be basically giving up those sorts of, um, I don't know, essential functions of my spirit to God. Um, but I've learned recently that God is more than that. God is always more than that, and I God can figure out how to deal with my bipolar disorder. It's really not that big a deal, and now I'm starting to see, as I've just laid out tonight, maybe like a more concrete, not quite detailed, but I'm starting to figure out maybe how that reconciliation may take place, how I can become um, a spiritually strong and consistent and integrated person, um, without losing the essence which I have in mania. Um, I've just been afraid, and that's understandable. So, so everything's going pretty well.